The hospital was unusually quiet that night, save for the occasional beeping of monitors and the soft shuffle of nurses moving from room to room. Among them was Emily Carter, a young nurse known for her kindness. She often took on extra shifts, never complained about the weight of exhaustion, and always treated patients with dignities. Veterans. That evening, she came across Mr. Thompson, an elderly man in his late 70s. His clothes were worn, his eyes weary, and his military dog tags dangled loosely around his neck. He had no family listed in his chart, no visitors, and his insurance had long lapsed. The system, in its cold efficiency, had already categorized him as low priority. Emily couldn't ignore him. His hand trembled as he tried to sign a consent form, but his strength gave out halfway through. She took his hand gently, steadied it, and whispered, "Don't worry, sir. I'll take care of you." Against strict hospital policy, Emily used her own money to buy the prescriptions he couldn't afford. She stayed hours past her shift to sit by his side, listening as he shared stories about his time in Vietnam, how he had lost comrades, how he still woke up at night hearing echoes of the battlefield. Tears slipped from his eyes as he admitted, "Sometimes, I think the world has forgotten us." Emily pressed his hand. "Not while I'm here, but kindness is not always welcomed by bureaucracy." The next morning, her supervisor summoned her to the office. The words hit her like a blow. "You're suspended. You knowingly broke hospital policy by paying out of pocket and administering care outside protocol." Emily tried to explain, "He had no one else. He served our country. He deserves better than to be abandoned." But the administrator's face was like stone. Rules were rules. She was escorted out, stripped of her badge and access, her heart aching as she glanced one last time at Mr. Thompson's door. That afternoon, as Emily sat at home in tears, wondering if she had ruined her career for compassion, the hospital prepared for an unannounced inspection. The staff buzzed nervously as the automatic doors slid open. In walked a tall figure in full uniform, 4 gleaming stars on his shoulders. General Marcus Hale, one of the most respected military leaders in the nation. The hospital director rushed forward, stumbling over greetings, but the general's face was grim. He bypassed everyone and went straight to Mr. Thompson's room. The old veteran's eyes lit up with disbelief. "Marcus, you're here?" The general clasped his hand. "Always, brother." What no one knew was that Mr. Thompson had once been Marcus Hale's squad leader in Vietnam. He had saved the general's life decades ago, dragging him out of enemy fire when he was only a young lieutenant. The bond between them was forged in blood, and Marcus had never forgotten. As the general listened to the story of how Emily had been suspended for helping, his jaw tightened. He stood, turned to the administrators gathered nervously in the hallway, and his voice thundered through the sterile corridors. "This woman is a hero. She showed more honor, courage, and commitment than anyone in this building. If you punish her for compassion, then you disgrace the very values veterans like Mr. Thompson bled for." The silence was heavy. No one dared speak. Finally, the general added, "Reinstate her, effective immediately. And consider this. Hospitals save lives, but without humanity, they're just factories of pain. Remember that." By evening, Emily's phone rang. It was the hospital director, voice shaky, asking her to return. When she walked back in, the staff looked at her differently, not as a suspended nurse, but as someone who had reminded them what the profession truly meant. Mr. Thompson smiled when he saw her, whispering, "Told you the world wouldn't forget." Emily blinked back tears. At that moment, she realized her small act of kindness had rippled far beyond the walls of that hospital. Sometimes, one act of humanity could awaken even the highest powers to remember what truly matters. Thanks for being here till the end. If this story moved you, give it a like, subscribe for more real moments, and share your thoughts. I read every comment.